We did it. We finished R.F. Kuang's, I think it's Katabasis. I've been saying Katabasis, but then I watched TikTok and everybody's saying Katabasis.
I think it's Katabasis. I think I watched an interview with her where she breaks it down. I could be misremembering because it was before the book came out, but I believe it's Katabasis.
Well,
it's also Greek, and I think it's Greek for to descend into hell. I also could be misremembering that, but it's something like that.
Well, then we're going to call it Katabasis for this whole video, and I'm going to be okay with it.
And if we're wrong, flame us in the comments.
It happened again.
I'm done with this thing, man. I need a better way to do this.
Didn't you say that you figured this out last video? Didn't you have something to hold it up before? Weren't you like, this is happening way too much? I need to...
Yeah, we've been here before.
We've been in this spot before. All right. I have a lot of feelings about this book. I have a lot of feelings about this author, and I am excited to get into it and talk about it.
So this is my first time reading R.F. Kuang, and I've heard good things and I've heard not great things, and the not great things I've heard from Dakota and some other people on the internet, but I've heard she's got a specific problem, and I'm excited to dive into whether we feel that is a problem or not. Anyway, this is Katabasis, and we're going to start off by a cover, because that's what we always start off with. I have a special cover. This is Broken Bindings. They're all kind of the same. It's like the repeating staircase. Yeah. I think they're all cool. I mean, the cover is what drew me in initially.
Same.
This one has sprayed edges of like the white chapel, the white city, and whatever layer of hell that was.
Yeah, Dis. Is that what it is?
Dis, yeah.
Yeah, I like all the covers as well.
Great.
The cover and the premise is also what drew me in, even though I was like, I'm not going to read another book by this author. And then you were like, but look how cool it looks. And I was like, you're right. It does look very cool.
Son of a bitch, I'm in.
I'm a sucker because I'm judging a book by its cover.
Yes. So yeah, cover book judgment. Good job. You hired a good artist. I'm proud.
Wholesome.
So to lead off from that, Dakota, talk about our characters, our main characters.
This was one of the areas I have no beef. So we're starting off really strong here. I mean, we're going to start off nice and positive. I thought the character development was good.
Foreshadowing.
We have two and some change. We have two really clear characters who start and they change and grow and they end different. And I don't think the characters are necessarily, I don't think I would say they're likable characters, but I think we have clear character development. It comes full circle.
I feel like I didn't dislike the characters. I liked what they could have been. I think they developed in something, like you said, their use of flashbacks to tell two stories simultaneously. I felt like was it did justice for the characters. I feel like everything Alice went through, being a woman in Cambridge with Grimes as her... Actually, both of them, Alice and Peter, seeing the way that Grimes treated both of them separately, but also how he treated them as a group.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, I talk about that a lot.
Point.
I've talked about that in a lot of other videos. I love... doesn't fit in character development, but I love the use of flashbacks for storytelling. It's very, very... I don't know, it makes me really happy. When it's done, it makes me happy because it's like we get two stories at once and we're learning about the character at the same time that the character's growing, and it feels very clean when it's done well. And it was done well. The flashbacks and the character development, character explanation was good. I like you. Anything else?
Yeah.
Anything to add?
That's all I have. That's really all I have.
Then we'll keep it rolling strong. Keep it going. Strong start here. Point from each of us on character development onto original.
Real quick, because I was going through, so I read this on my cruise that I was on, hence the hat. And so I didn't have a way to take notes, and I didn't realize till like 75%, and then I could highlight things as I was reading, because I was reading it on ebook. And one of the things I highlighted, I thought it was funny. It said, and this is Peter talking, it says, as it was, Crohn's was coming off as something completely conveniently made up. A beast gnaws at me all hours of the day, but you can't see it. I feel so weak and scattered, my mind won't work. Here I am speaking to you, clearly alert. My tummy hurts. What a joke. And his whole thing was how his like missing school and all this because of Crohn's disease. And I thought it was funny because my tummy hurts. What's a joke? I have some GI issues, and I'm like, wow. It's like funny. It's like, oh, sorry guys, I have to like miss this, or I have to like be late because I have to poop, or my stomach is rumbly. It's like, it's funny because how do you explain that to somebody?
It's relatable
through it.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny. It doesn't like really belong to anything, but that's what it is. So anyway, we can move on. My apologies.
You're good. It was a good I gotta poop. It was a good quote. Onward
Got
and
a Pope.
upward, originality and creativity. How
I
you feel
give it a
about
one.
that? Yeah, I did too.
I thought it was you. A cool concept of page, basically chapter 1, we have our clear goal. We are a student going to save our professor by going to hell and grabbing his soul. Oops, I sent him there. Um okay, bet. I love, like, the match is lit, like things are burning quick.
Yeah,
So
instant hook.
yeah, and then we got to see, like, we got to explore hell for what it was. I thought just the storytelling was unique in that aspect too, along with the flashbacks.
Yeah, nothing really to add. I mean, it was a unique premise. The premise was interesting. Premise drew us in, and I gave it a point there too.
Cool. Engaging storyline. I feel like Dakota's about to light his own match here. What do we
The
got?
the strong start has officially ended. Um,
Yeah.
okay, I kind of struggle with actually with how I was going to rate this one because a lot of the time when I have pacing, a beef with pacing, which spoiler alert, we'll talk about in pacing category. When I have a beef with pacing, I often rate the engaging storyline poorly. I was interested in this and I was engaged, but it just felt like it wasn't moving and it just wasn't it wasn't going anywhere and I was like that's pacing, but the storyline itself nothing was happening to keep me engaged. So I think that's why I docked it to half a point because I was like I'm interested, but I'm not like what's happening? Like why do I want to keep reading this? Like what's going on? What are we waiting for here? Like and I had that was one of my biggest issues with Babel too. Babel was also a like long standalone. And I was like, this is interesting, but what's happening? Is something going to happen? Are we going to do anything here? We going to look any deeper than surface level premise?
I feel like what the grief that I've heard with her as a writer is that she has such unique, great premises, and then like tease them up and then doesn't do anything with them. Like, here's this great idea, and then it's just like, all right, when are we getting to like what you're doing with this? And it's just like there's a lot of just not lollygagging, but there's a lot of feel like thought meandering. It's almost like that thought exercise where like you keep writing without stopping and just keep writing whatever like you're thinking.
That's a really good way to
And
put it.
it's hard because she's like really smart, right? She's from Cambridge, I believe, and just she's a knowledgeable woman, but it doesn't translate, I don't think, well to the knowledge she's trying to share does not translate well to the story she's trying to tell. So she's got all this knowledge that doesn't fit into what she's trying to talk about. So I feel like her writing about Cambridge and these characters was an excuse for her to write about what she knows, but just write about it, not really actually have it quote unquote be important, because like it does matter, like, oh, this is where the character got this information, how they're drawing maps, but you don't need to talk about it for like 70 pages each time. Like it's just too much. I actually
Yeah,
have a quote from Goodreads review that I thought was so interesting. I Snapchatted it.
let's see it.
Trying to have
Let's
more
hear it.
references in
This
my
is good. This is
stuff.
unique. This is
I'm
new.
trying.
We're growing.
This is from Anna on, it just says Anna. Anna's review on Katabasis. I'm not going to read the whole thing, just a part. Just the first paragraph. If anything else, Kuang is always capable of surprising me. I did not expect to love Babel's hefty prose, nor did I expect to find Yellowface as unfunny as it was. Katabasis is unique in that it's bereft of anything particularly good or bad. It is nothing. And
I
I was
remember
like,
that. I remember that review.
yeah, and I was like, that's a good point, because I kept reading. I'm like, I know I'm reading things, and I don't not care about it, but I don't care about it. Like, I feel like I'm just reading almost like a thesis on all these different works explaining what hell looks like as
Yeah.
she's walking through sand.
Yeah, I have a lot more to add on those points in the writing style section that I'll save. I'll let them cook a little bit, but I agree. It was just empty. The story was engaging, but we didn't see a clear progression of it enough to keep me hooked. So I gave it a half point on storyline.
Yeah, her storyline I felt like was as empty as the hell they were walking through. There was
Damn.
just not much there.
It's
There
really
were layers,
interesting to
but
me
they were empty.
because I see these really glaring issues, and I think that this is like it's hard because we do this and it's inherently subjective. We're inherently putting our own feelings and thoughts on media, and that's like our rating. But to a point, it feels a little objective. Like she is rambling, I guess I would say, in that. And I did a little mini review on this while you were gone, and that's one of the things I talked about. I don't know if you saw that, where I was just like, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
she writes like 3 pages to say the main character went and like anything she writes about is like 3 pages worth long to say that they went like they sighed, and it's like a 3-page manuscript on them sighing. And
Yeah.
I feel like that's like to a point, like objective. And so I really don't understand why so many people give her works like maximum score, because I'm like, I can understand enjoying it and having a personal connection to it. But when we see glaring shortcomings, I think, as a
I think
writer,
it's hard because she's a good writer, but she's not a good storyteller. So
yeah,
like when you are a good writer and you're like, people are telling you like, oh, like you write really well, you have unique story ideas, like that's great. But like this book is a prime example of how that just doesn't translate. Like
I need
you gave us a thesis.
I need to see a long form from a different person, a different group of reviewers that tell me why they're giving it a full score. Because I see all the TikTok snippets that give it max score, and I'm like, but how? How are you giving it a full score? Anyways, I'm rambling. We can pew pew to the next section. We both
I
gave it,
gave that a half point as well for engaging
yeah,
storyline.
yeah, me too. So from there, the story end and wrap up. I'll let you start with this one. Tell me about
I
it.
I had a hard time with the story end. I wanted to give it a 0 right off the rip because I was like, I am not satisfied with this ending. This ending is like, at the end, it is, even though it doesn't feel like it, except for very small snippets, it's technically kind of a love story. Okay,
Yeah,
sure, whatever. That's
yeah.
a part of the book. Um, and that's kind of how it ends. But the way we got there I didn't care by the end because I don't know. I felt like there was supposed to be so much more. And at the end, it's like, oh, yeah, by the way, here's this fruit and you give it to the devil and he's going to let you do kind of whatever you want with that fruit. And that's going to satisfy your ending. Okay,
Yeah.
I guess. Um, so I gave it a point because it did technically end. It wrapped things up. So that's why I got the half point, but it's a technical half point. I really want to give it a 0, but I'm giving it a half point. You know what? I'm feeling mean today. I'm not giving it the half point. I really disliked the ending. I felt like I read all this and had such a good, this is a completely subjective point I'm taking down because it objectively did end. So it should get the half point. I'm taking it away. It's getting 0 for me. I can't do it. I'm upset.
I went through the same roller coaster emotions that you just went through on camera while I was writing my notes on this. I started at a point. And I was like, it ended. It wrapped up. Like we saw the story come to a conclusion. And then I went to like, okay, but like the journey, the ending made the journey feel pointless. And it literally does the opposite of what an ending is supposed to do. Because I mean, I feel like the whole point of a journey is that it's in the journey, not the destination. And so like when the destination makes the journey pointless, it's like, wait a minute, we're taking a step back here. So I started at 1 and then I got down to 0.5 and then I got down to 0. And then I think I went through that same, like, technically it ended. So do I want to give it a 0.5? And I think I
So what are you
landed on
doing?
I think I landed on 0.5. I'm gonna give it a 0.5. I'll try and be a slightly more objective person in this, but just know that I emotionally agree with your 0. I did at
Okay.
the ending. The ending made me upset, but I was like, "Am I being nitpicky if I give the ending a 0 because it didn't end?" I am being nitpicky, but it is personal review. It's my review. It doesn't have to be anybody else's review. But I'll give it a 0.5 on the story end for, like you said, a technical wrap up. It wrapped up. The ending was earned. I think the flower was the stakes, the struggles, the trials that Alice faced to get the flower. Maybe not directly tied to her getting the flower, but she
The flower was
struggled.
basically handed to her. She struggled, and
You're
eventually
right.
someone was like, "Man, I'm taking pity on you for struggling. Here's literally the solution to your problem. Enjoy."
You're right. There
So,
should have
I
been
mean,
a
it's subjective. It's
it is.
subjective,
It is.
and technically, it's subjective. It's subject. It's a little bit of both, but my subjectivity is winning today, and that's Dallas. Sorry, I'm choking on air.
It's really interesting. I don't want to start rambling yet. I'll save my rambling for the end. We'll ramble more when we get to the points that are worth rambling about, because I have some points that are worth rambling about, and I don't want to use up my rambling in the beginning.
Okay, fair enough.
So You gave
Well,
a 0 on end. I gave it a 0.5 on end.
world building and setting. Were you there?
All right.
God.
This is one of my ones it's worth rambling about. She comes up with these really awesome premises and these really exciting worlds and doesn't give us anything. Like Babel was the exact same as this in that like the magic system is so painfully unexplored. She does the opposite of Sanderson. Sanderson is like he makes his stories in these fantastical worlds and he really explores his magic systems, but then he zooms the story in on he zooms the stories in on small problems. And that's how he draws you in, right? He's not doing these like his goal isn't like, look at them being super with these superpowers. It's look at this person who has mental illness and is struggling to make it through their day-to-day life while they also have these superpowers. And so it's these like really nitty-gritty details that build out these worlds. And she just doesn't explore her worlds at all, which it blows my mind that she comes up with these wild premises, these wild magic systems that are really interesting and then doesn't explore them at all. We don't have any information about how the magic works. We don't have any information about who knows it. It sounds like the whole world knows because they learned about it at like a college seminar, but like, yeah, it seems crucial to a fantasy story.
I think this is one of those issues that people have with Harry Potter, where you have all these crazy things that you can do that like would affect day-to-day life that are ignored for like story's plot. If everybody knows about this magic that can do all these crazy things to help daily life, why is not everybody using it and doing it? I would disagree. I think we have like a little bit of knowledge. Like we get kind of how it works. The whole thing is you're like tricking logic or whatever with a special chalk. But I think that part is okay. But my beef is with that you can tell she wanted to write about Cambridge. All at the Cambridge scenes and everything with there and the backstories were my favorite part because it was so flushed out and like the characters actually had interactions and important things happened as opposed to, oh yeah, now we're back in hell to the main plot. There's some sand and souls over there, and Alice and what's his name are gonna fight Peter. And then we're going to go back to a flashback that's really cool because it's this place that I went to and I really had a good time. And I was the only girl there ever. And it was super cool.
Yeah, the flashbacks were the most interesting part of the book. They were the most well-structured, the most well-written. I 100% agree. Yeah, I understand what you're saying that we did get a bit of understanding. I feel like we got a base level of the magic system. And it's the same exact base level we got with Babel. I just felt like in both, we don't really understand them and how they work and the limitations of them. So
I think I disagree a little bit actually on that.
Interesting.
But I feel like we have to separate Babel from this. Like this is just a story. We're not.
You're right. I'm just drawing I'm drawing comparison because my complaint is similar to Babel. But I felt like we know how the chalk system works. Similarly in Babel, I know how the magic works, but I don't feel like in Katabasis that we really know like what all it can do and how it came about and who knows and who doesn't know. If the whole, it's like all the things you said, if the whole world knows, why is not everybody using magic? Why is it not you activated your camera?
I know, I realized that. I don't feel like I still disagree a little bit. I had a point. Oh, with the magic system, I feel like the magic system was another excuse to show us how smart she is, which is cool. You're smart. And I want your book to be smart. Because it's not like I didn't get it. Like, I'm not like an idiot. I'm like, wow, she's the smartest person ever. Like, I didn't get what she was saying. But she just wanted to talk about, like, logic and fallacies and stuff like that. She went into so much detail about shit that just did not matter. You don't need to go into all these pages about this stuff that to say that they're drawing a circle to make a bucket work. And that's another one of those things is, like, it could be in world building. You're telling me how the magic works. But it doesn't matter. It just, you kind of just are talking to talk.
I promise this is the last time. I promise this is the last time I'll say something.
Are you going to say something about Babel?
I promise. After this, I will no longer do it. It was the same thing because the whole thing about Babel is built on language. And so I feel like she's writing Babel to show off her grasp of different languages because the magic's centered around languages. And it's like, look how good I am with languages. And it's like, that's where the magic came from there. And it's a really similar thing here. That's just the same beef. I have the same level of beef, but I won't say it anymore. This is its own book. I promise that I'll make it stand alone. But I guess I see, I see
You're fine.
where you're making me I see where you're calling out my perspective, and I agree, and I understand that there is maybe more exploration of the magic system than I'm giving it credit for. But I think at the base level of world building and setting, yeah, she didn't paint us a very vivid picture of hell. She painted us an immaculately lush picture of Cambridge. And so in the setting and world building, it was lacking, even magic system aside. I mean,
I swear she went to Cambridge. I have to look because this special edition doesn't have it about the author. Um, but it says she's pursuing a PhD in East Asian language and literature at Yale. Because I know they poke fun at Yale a little bit in the book, and I think that's her like, haha.
yeah, she was
Um,
born in China, schooled in Texas before she studied sinology at Cambridge and Oxford as a Marshall Scholar.
like I said, she's a very smart person. I just don't think it translates, and I don't want to be like, oh, she's only, you know, to, shit on her smartness. And I'm glad you're smart, but
She's incredibly
it
intelligent.
doesn't work. It doesn't
She's
work.
incredible.
And
Yeah.
your
I think
ability to tell stories.
to quote 10-minute, 15, 20-minute ago, Curtis, I think you put it really well when you said that she's really intelligent and that she's a really good writer, but maybe not a great storyteller. I would agree with that. I think she's really smart, and I think her grasp of the human language and the ability to weave sentences together is really intelligent. But
Mhm.
I agree that it struggles a bit to get the story across.
Because I did like she had a rant. I call it rant, I guess. She had a bit in the book where she was poking fun at feminism from Alice's point of view. And I thought it was really funny because you can tell it's not Alice's point of view. It's her point of view speaking through the character. And I love seeing that because it's very like not like without even being nitpicky. I feel like it was like world breaking because all of a sudden there's like this rant about it. And it was like like it was funny. It was I guess topical in the story. I guess I don't know.
Yeah,
Because
it seems.
there was she did go into some important issues when it came to like um sexism at like the higher levels of education, especially in the uh not olden times and not like ancient people, but like
No,
even
like
not even
early
that long ago.
2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are important things to bring up, but and those are important to the character's development and stuff. So I thought those parts were fine, but there were some points where it went further than the character, and you could tell it's like
Yeah, that seems to
you're
also be a something about her writing style. You can really tell when she's clearly communicating something she feels strongly about versus just like a character issue.
Yeah, I just think it could have been incorporated a little bit better as opposed to ranting at us. But some of it was done well, but most of it I felt like wasn't, in my humble opinion.
Moving on, onward and downward into hell. Pacing and structure.
I gave this a big fat 0. I feel it's another subjective one. I felt the structure of. I felt like. Oh, I'll start with pacing. I felt like the pacing was bad. Wasn't bored, but I just felt like nothing was happening for so long, just for nothing really to happen at the end.
Yeah.
I felt like we were getting strung along. The only times I felt like it was good was in some of the backstories, like I said, and the flashbacks. I thought those times were okay, but the main story with what was happening, like present day characters, was not
Yeah,
great. I felt like we'd
we were
drag along.
fascinatingly blue balled.
Yeah, essentially. And I gave it a 0 also because I just felt like the structure of the way it was. I feel like I should almost give it a half point, but I don't want to because it just wasn't. How do I want to say what I'm trying to say? I didn't feel that the story was structured well because of the way she told the story made it feel like the rants we were talking about. Like she just kept diving into these super in-depth things that didn't matter, so it broke us away from the story. So by the time we got back, I was like disoriented because I'm
Yeah.
like, what were the characters doing again? Like
Where
now
are
that
we?
I've
What's
heard about
going on?
like yeah, I felt like it almost like shot the structure a bit.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna agree with you and say that I'm gonna try and put some objectivity into it, but I think that makes it. I think the ranting and the long-winded pacing breaks the structure for me. I wanted to also give it a technical point for a technical half point because it's like beginning, middle, end, and like structure is like a you have it or you don't. But I feel like the pacing breaks down the structure. It's too much of a glaring issue for me.
Yeah,
I mean, other than that, I
I
agree with everything you said. I would go as far as to say I was bored. I mean, it wasn't like it. it wasn't like the nothing that was going on was really interesting to me. I was also waiting for like a really big climax that also didn't happen. So it was like nothing's happening, but we're gonna get there, we're gonna get there, we're gonna get there, and we
It
don't
was
get
a
there. And I'm
weird
like,
it was a weird mixture of I was bored, but like I liked the premise so much that I kept reading because I'm like, it's happening. Like I'm excited to see where this is gonna go, even though I'm not necessarily liking what I'm reading. And I never got that release.
I
I was
love to watch
bummed.
this happen to you because when it happened to me the first time, I had no one to talk to it about, and I was like, I'm just alone in this, and everybody else loves this book.
I think for
Loves
Christmas this year, I'm gonna read Babel for you, and you're gonna read
gonna read
Atlas
Atlas
6.
6. All right, let's do it. Let's do a month of just we'll close the year out with each other's least favorite books of the year.
Wow, can't wait to end the year with garbage. It'll be like a white elephant, but for reading.
It'll be like a cake with a pile of poop on top instead of a cherry.
Yummy. Emotional impact. How you feeling?
This was another tough one for me. I ended up giving it a half point. I ended up giving it a half point, and I think it has the same issues that world building had in that like our looks into the flashbacks were really well done, and I felt like the emotions in the flashbacks I was deeply connected to, but nothing in the present day had a strong emotional connection. And so like the isolated moments in the flashbacks almost made me give this a whole point because I was like, wow,
Yeah.
these stories that these characters are telling us about their past in the flashbacks is really strong. But then when I looked at it from like when I took a step back and looked at it, I was like, it's super isolated. We don't see the like emotional impact to link like through the whole story or in the characters like struggles in the moment. We just see it in the flashbacks.
Yeah, I would agree. I feel like the flashbacks were so strong. That's where I felt emotion like for the characters, like everything Alice was going through with when she was in the office with Grimes and she's like, that's her professor and like this like her mentor and everything. And then he like comes on to her and stuff like that. And I was like, wow, this is disgusting. Like I'm feeling all the emotions, right? And then like my metaphorical tears, right? My metaphorical tears from the emotions we received in the backstory for both Peter and Alice were dried by the dry story of like all like the different logical things that we had to go through. You could have just did a brief example of like different paradoxes and logical fallacies. What? Oh my God. The more I think about it, the more I just think it was more dry than boring. Like, was I reading a textbook? I don't know how to describe my feelings. I gave it a half point because she did write the backstories really well, but I didn't care when Peter died. Not really. I felt it a little bit. I was like, okay.
It was the moment was not leveraged.
No.
I
thought it was supposed to be like an emotional thing when like the crypt
it was
keys
off
left.
screen too.
Yeah, we didn't even find out anything about it. I thought we were gonna like see something from his point of view or maybe like a different. We got nothing.
You can't.
He was bled out and murdered, and we got nothing but a scream.
Yeah, kill off your characters, but you have to do it on screen or make it meaningful. Otherwise, why did you kill off your character?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even want to talk about that anymore. I got nothing else to say. I'm just gonna keep ranting.
Yeah,
I could write a book about it. Call it Katabasis 2.
I could. That was good. That was good. All right, thanks. On to writing style and prose.
Not my favorite. I don't want to be like I said. I feel like her writing is good, and I feel like she knows what she's talking about. But I don't feel like in the context of the story she's trying to tell, it worked at all. So that's why I gave it a 0. I don't feel it necessarily. I don't feel like it worked. And then another good point why I'm giving prose 0 is I didn't save the comment, but I had seen a comment, I think it was on Goodreads as well, that kind of describes what I was talking about. In that for like these crazy level, smart, Cambridge top students, top professor, top mentor, PhD people, they just make so many stupid decisions for like plot convenience. And it's like, I don't know, it kind of takes away from it's like, I'm trying to think of an example of another book that like the characters piss me off like that, where it's like they're super smart, or like they have the knowledge, but then they don't have it or remember it because it doesn't work for like this part of the story.
Yeah, it's like For the Wolf and For the Throne in that like they're just not giving us the information for plot convenience and not like for a real reason.
We don't have time to talk about it right now.
we're not going to tell you right now. Moving on.
Well, it's like, yeah, when the characters are like traveling and they're like, I don't have enough time to, to talk about why I don't have enough time to talk about or tell you about it and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, you could take like 4 seconds to just be like, hey, run because of this type thing. But anyway, I give it a 0.
Yeah, I wrote a beefy note block because I think that the root of all of my struggles with R.F. Kuang is her writing style. And that's, I think, both subjective and objectively, to look at it from my own personal opinions and also to look at it like in the context of fantasy books. I don't like it. I don't think I specifically wrote in my note block that it's worth noting that her style is impressive and that she's incredibly intelligent and that she can craft really intricate paragraphs, but I think that's not a virtue in this genre. I think it's incredibly difficult to digest and that it doesn't tell the story very clearly. Her prose,
Yeah.
Both the writing style and the prose, the stylistic choices, not a fan of, and the prose it's incredibly difficult to digest, which is part of where the pacing struggles, because like I said, she's just rambling and writing like manuscripts on like a tiny, tiny, tiny little useless point, like all the logical fallacies around one of the spells that we get like 3 pages on when it could have been really short, and we don't get like it's just unbalanced. We don't get a proper look at like the world building or setting. She doesn't properly build out the background of where the characters are and where they're traveling. But then all of a sudden, it's like a manuscript on logical fallacies. And it's like, this is great, but I'm not here to read about that. I'm here to read about the story that you're telling. And you're not telling the story when you stop telling the story to talk about a lot of different other things. So give it a 0.
Fair enough. I'm trying to find a note because you said the word digest and that like triggered my brain.
Triggered a memory.
I was on the plane, I think, and I couldn't text you. So I think I took a screenshot of what I was like gonna text you. Can't find it.
Dang.
But it was basically like,
should have sent the text and let it fail and then let it resend later.
Maybe I did. Let me look into that while you're doing your thing. I did find another quote though, that I saved. It's called, "Here you could jump down any rabbit hole you liked." And I thought it was funny because it was Alice saying that, and Alice in Wonderland jumps down the rabbit hole. I thought that was kind of unique. I'm sure it was intentional because she is very smart and I liked it.
Yeah. It's really interesting. A lot of complaints about her writing is that it makes you feel stupid. Like when I've seen people complain, I've seen complaints that like, she makes you feel stupid because she writes so technical. I don't know if that's necessarily
I never
the
felt
problem.
stupid.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't make you feel dumb. It's just not digestible. The way that she writes doesn't seem like it tells the story clearly. It seems like you could write in a more clear, concise manner to more clearly get your point across and more clearly weave the story that your characters are in. But it's one of those things that we talked about. We talked about it, I think, in Dueling Shoulder Angels. And it's like a stylistic choice that the author does. And so it's like they know that they're writing this way and it's the way that they want to write. And so that's great. It's their story. It's just not for me when they write like that.
Yeah, but I feel like with this one, it's not for me. I just feel like, and some people will like it and say that, oh no, it is for me, blah, blah. I feel like it's just not. This is not a story. I feel like it was a dissertation wrapped in a beautiful cover.
Which is so interesting.
Oh, wait, I found it.
I'm ready. Go on.
I wrote, and I thought this was super clever at the time. This is 5 a.m. I don't know if it was 5 a.m. our time or my time, whatever. And I wrote, I said, I think she wrote the book to be dissected, not digested. I think she absolutely wants people to analyze this and talk about what she wrote and all the smart things that she wrote and stuff like that, but doesn't care how it was taken in. I thought that was super clever at the time. I still do. I'm a smart person sometimes. I couldn't write this book.
I didn't say anything. You started self-deprecating there before I even responded.
I think that's just who I am as a person.
I love you.
I wish when I did that, it like popped hearts off my
like a Zoom call or not.
Yeah.
Prose is something her prose and her writing style is something I could also write a book on, and you could call it Katabasis 3 because I could ramble on it forever. I could go on. It's so interesting to me that more people don't have an issue with it because I don't. So many people love her.
I'm going to say my controversial thing.
I'm ready.
I think it's because, and this is exactly my point. I don't want to offend anybody here, But I feel like a lot of people like her writing and like what she puts out and stuff because she is not just like a straight white dude writing fantasy, which is fine. But I don't read books because of the author. I'm reading most of the time. I'll read a book. I don't look up the author. I don't care. I just want to read the book. I'll look up the author
Yeah.
afterwards if like they mention something a lot. I'm like, oh, I wonder if they like are from here, like this, whatever. But I feel like a lot of people like her because she's an intelligent woman and not because she writes a good story. And I think that's a problem. I'm glad you like the person and that you want to support her, but she just does not write a good story. At least from this book. I haven't read her other stuff. I want to read The Poppy War. I am willing to give that a shot. I think people like or dislike certain stories because of the author, like Harry Potter and people not liking J.K.
Yeah.
Rowling because of the
I
things
think
that she says.
to tack on to tack on to your controversial point, I think that's just as bad as people that choose what they read and don't read by judging the author. I think that
Mhm.
giving it free concessions because of someone is just as bad as someone who's like, I'm not going to read this because that's a woman, which is like, I don't look at who the author is either, right? Like, I mean, I think that I like the Empyrean Fourth Wing series more than this, and that's not even like my kind of book. I'm not super into romantasy and into like smut, and I like the premise and I like that storytelling more than this storytelling.
Yeah, I would agree.
And like smut is something that normally makes me say, ooh, I don't want to read this. And I'm still like around that. I like that storytelling more than this storytelling.
It's just how we feel.
Meaningful themes in depth.
I did give this a full point. I felt like this is because of all the things she was trying to, mainly with the flashbacks. I thought is where this excelled. There were some points even in the when they were in hell and everything, but the main one I want to bring up is the whole don't meet your heroes. It's a very prevalent topic in a lot of different things. It's like going up and meeting your favorite celebrity from your favorite movies, and they're like in a rush because they have to sign 80 billion things a day, and then they're like curt with you or something. And then now that's your impression of them. You only got to meet them for a second, but now it's going to sour all of those interactions with every time you watch the movie. You won't look at them the same. And once she kind of got close to her professor Grimes, and especially at the end, saw his like actual true colors like confirmed, not just through everybody else's eyes. It like she didn't bring him back to hell from hell because of that. And I thought that was one of the stronger themes, as well as other things she was trying to push. I felt like her not agenda, because I don't think she had an agenda, but a lot of her opinions were prevalent here and had were like important themes like feminism and things like that. And
I agree. I gave this one a full point in themes as well. And I said I wasn't going to do it, but I'm going to do it in a positive way this time. So that's why I'm doing it. In contrast to Babel, I liked how she handled themes in this one, because in Babel, I felt like it was too much and that I couldn't see the themes in a way that were meaningful because of how they were presented in the story. But in this one, I felt like her themes were all important. They were all strong, and I felt like the themes were really well done. So doing the contrast for a positive thing and not a negative thing. So I felt like that gave me a license to bring it back up again.
I was about to say we're about to end on a positive, but we have rereadability and lasting impact, and I have nothing to say except I'm giving this a 0. Did not enjoy my read. My lasting impact would just be negativity, so I'm giving it a 0.
Same here. I mean, yeah, I could ramble on it.
And see, for all that knowledge and stuff she put in it, I didn't get anything out of it. And it's not that I didn't get what she was saying. I just don't care. And that could just be a me thing. It could be subjective. And if you got something out of it and you learned a lot, good for you.
It's weird because normally when I'm in that kind of perspective, I am like, maybe I'm immature. Maybe it's my own immaturity that's making me not get anything out of it. Because if it's touching on like a lot of real issues, and I'm like, I just didn't get anything out of it. I'm like, well, maybe I'm the immature one. But this is not that. Like the areas that were like overly explained were not something that are enriching. They're not like enriching areas.
And even if it is some like a knowledge thing you're excited to share, it just didn't matter in the story. So I just didn't care because it just didn't matter. You're just sharing a fact. Like if I Googled a lot of like the logic, I bet you it would be like, this is I couldn't even remember off the top of my head what they're called because I don't care.
Yeah.
Anyway, what is your final score?
I gave it a 5 out of 10, which is a 2.5 on the Goodreads scale. And I
gave it a 4.5. So that is, to you RSQers listening at home, a 4.75 out of 10. on the standardized RSQ scale, which is
Yeah,
not great.
it's tough because like I don't think I'll ever recommend this author. I don't think I will for people who are like me and people who like books that I like. I don't think I'm ever going to say go read R.F. Kuang, go read her works. From what I've heard about Poppy War and having read Babel and having read Katabasis, I don't think I'm going to be the one that's like go check her out. I think I'll always say probably pass. But that's controversial. That's a controversial take because a lot of people like her writing a lot.
Okay.
A lot of our fellow TikTokers in our small corner of book talk who are like similar size as us, they like her a lot and they talk and they like her books a lot. I don't get it. And I've been ranting about it whenever I've been sneaking it in all of our videos for a while now. I don't
really have.
understand. I don't understand. Maybe this will get it off my chest. I don't know what the hype's about because I mean, we read indie books that were better off. Like a lot of I'm going to change that whole statement. A lot of the indie authors we read were stronger writers and wrote better stories and told better stories than I think she does. And so it's like we have indie authors that should be lifted up for how good their writing is. And
I think
we also
go ahead. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
No, that was basically it. I've read like indie books and I like them a lot. But we're looking at this book and we're like, this is great, go read it. And I'm like, it's really poorly written.
And I think this is to allude to my point earlier. While some people, support really like her just because she's a very smart woman and like her, like, oh, she's a very well-educated woman or well-educated person, gender aside, well-educated person. So she must write really good things. It doesn't matter. You could be anybody and tell a good story. And I think that's one of the important takes here is that just because an individual is super well educated and has written a bunch of things does not mean it's going to be anything that anyone's going to enjoy. It just might not be good. Or you could just be like a Joe Schmo that just, even if the writing isn't super strong, the story can be fantastic. And I think that's something that, like you said, with the indie month that we did, we had some stories that definitely could use some
Refinement, polishing.
Refinement. Yeah. And just more practice with writing. But what they had put out and what we read was great. Was just refinement aside, it was a really enjoyable story that was told well. Just technical things. That's what I'm gonna say. There's technicality of it. So yeah, one of our RSQs, could write a story and send it to us, and we'll read it before bed, and it'll put us to sleep because it's so good. Anyway, that is Katabasis in a nutshell. 4.75 out of 10, and I feel okay with that score.
Yeah.
Sometimes at the end, I'm like, I don't know how we got here. But I feel like this is a good spot to be.
I agree. Feel like I accurately represented why I feel that way. And oftentimes I sometimes end up in the camp of I feel like I rated this too high or too low. But
agreed.
Feel like that's acceptable. But next we are reading the Dandelion Dynasty.
Kings.
Yeah.
Yes.
By Ken
Dandelion
Liu.
Dynasty is the series name. Grace of Kings is book 1. It's a 4-book series. It is a quartet. They're huge. I did not realize they were this big of a series. In our video, we said it was a trilogy. Dakota lied. It is 4 books. So that is what we're going to be reading next. Very excited for that. It was Dakota's suggestion, so I hope he's very excited. And thanks for watching.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening to us rant. And tell us why you did or didn't like another book by this author or this book by this author. Otherwise,
and we'll see you next time.
RSQ out.
RSQ out.